quick introduction to the two lovely people doing this session today. So first we have Maike. She's 22. She coordinates the finance team of Letzte Generation Germany. And she's a member of the campaign since April last year. And all her skills were learned by doing and frequently talking to lawyers, bookkeepers, accountants, and the core team. Thanks, Maike, for being here. And she is accompanied by Caris Connell. She's 34 from Leipzig, an all-life activist in environmental movements and part of Letzte Generation since March 2022, and on the streets and in the finance team. So thanks so much, both of you, for being here, and I'll hand over to whoever starts.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thanks. I start with the most important. If you have your handouts, you can read with yourself. And yeah, I start with the most important and something that will take the longest. Forming a legal structure will be the basement of your finance structure. And there are two ways. You have the opportunity to build a charitable associations where you have tax advantages due to tax exemption for charitable purposes. For example, educational work and awareness raising work. And we're talking about financing everything that's not action, like talks, trainings, and traveling expenses. Or you can build bridges with existing associations for the transition, because an own foundation can take a long time. And that's what we did. We are currently co-working closely with a society which is committed to social and ecological change. So you can look out for that. And look out for a good name and founders that is not the one associated with your actions in press and social media, and choose well out of the possibilities in your country. Political parties are the best choice in Germany, even though it seems odd. And there are non-charitable associations for all action invoices like vests, banners, and glue. And you have to ask yourself who's willing to give their names, because the non-charitable association might be persecuted for everything. In Germany, there's the threat of building a criminal or terrorist gang. And look out for legal form that is reducing liability for members as well as founders and heads. And the most important rule is for that, the accounting and bank accounts and contracts and so on have to be strictly separated. So don't mix that up. It has to be separated. It's best to have separate teams for that. Yeah, I'll pass over to Caris for the second part.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure, maybe should we do questions in the end? Because maybe it makes more sense if you have any questions right now about this. We do them right now.
Just considering time, maybe if people want to note down their questions, if they have them to specific sections, we could also, if people here don't have the handout posted in the link in the chat, because we can still send to everyone. So we could do it maybe at the end. I think otherwise we're going to blow the 1.5 hours.
Okay, good idea. So I'll switch over to the next step in building up a good financial structure, which is when you have your legal forms, you need to set up bank accounts. And it's always plural, because what Maike just said, you need the charitable and the non-charitable organizations and bank accounts and email addresses and whatnot. You want to have a website for each, where where you have a donations page with as many possibilities to donate as possible. PayPal accounts, that's an option many people want to choose. Lookout, PayPal just cut our donations, but that took some time. So you want to have that, and anything else you can set up. And then you need the horrible, boring thing of accounting structures. And you want to have professional accounting people. You want to have professional accounting program. And you there's a possibility that you can work with pro bono professionals. Many people have boring jobs, but interesting lives, and there are people willing to donate their time, lawyers, accountants, bookkeepers, and so on. And if you can't find those, just pay them. It's worth every euro, dollar, or whatever you have. And then if you have the structure set up, you can start, somebody new, you can start in building up a team. And I'm giving back to Maike.
Yeah, I would start at least from the 3rd month to build up a team, because from then on you can't handle it with few persons, mainly because you have to separate it, accounting and everything. And yeah, then you will define and assign responsibilities. And yeah, you can have a look at our team structure. It's at the bottom and the handout. And you have to find reliable and confidential people. It's best to hire people you know personally and have met in real life, or who followed the strategy for a while. Think about security standards, and you can have employment contracts for full-time or voluntary work. And it's okay to ensure fixed working hours, even though you don't have any deadlines. And that's for building up a team. Karen.
Thank you. I just had to take a look at something. So when you have all that in place, you need to make sure that you're accountable and that you're caring for transparency. So you need to collect information on what you do and what you change, your successes for accountability reports. You need to find a good way to cooperate with other teams in your campaign. And it's best to have a fixed person, so you know there's this one person I can always call on legal questions. There is another person I can always call about, I don't know, networking and public relations. That's the best way, we found out after a long time, to make this inter-group thing work. Please do ask regularly for reports, qualitative and quantitative reports on anything that mobilization is doing. I don't know what you're calling it. So people doing the talks, handing out leaflets, postering the streets, all that. You want to count that? And you need reports on all the costs from the other groups in your campaign. So how much does an action cost? One action, one blockade. How much does, I don't know, what else you do? A museum visit cost, whatever you have. Down to one piece of glue. Then collect and share internal wins and successes. That can be very different to what you share with the public. So watch out where, on which canal you post your information. And you will need different accountability information for sponsors. They want to know what their money did, what they moved with their donations. For the tax office, yes, we have to do that too. For a limited public and internally for us to celebrate and to get strength out of our successes. And you need fucking bookkeeping. I'm very sorry to inform you, but you need to do this unless you want to go to jail for false bookkeeping, which I think we have different ways to do that. So you need for every expense a receipt. A receipt is this paper that you get when you pay something in the shops. And I'm sorry, but you need one every time. And you always have to separate between charitable and non-charitable. And I'm saying this not because I think you're stupid. I'm just saying this because we made many mistakes in the beginning. And it was a feeling of, oh, we're all anarchists and it's all flowing, and that's not the way we can deal with finances. So this must be handled very strictly. Yes, so and now I'm giving over about fundraising.
Yeah, if you have built up these structures, the next point will be very easily and the fun part of fundraising. And yeah, so that's why there stands from the 3rd to the 6th month. You can start with creating your own well-structured, organized, designed, professional donation website. Ours is just a few days old, and the inspiration came from Just Stop Oil. So thanks for that. And yeah, we linked you got to link your crowdfundings and donation websites in every social media and press release. So the range is very widely. And crowdfundings for special opportunities are a great way to raise funds. We made one for police administrative costs or housing. There's a clear reference to the use of the money, and donators have a connection to what we do with the money. Also, you can use the attention from the actions. So this is, can be seen very differently in your campaigns. While we use the attention to always say in the press releases, here you can donate money, or we just got money from SEV for this and that, and yes, that's the attention. And we apply it to foundations. It can be helpful to use a nonprofit association that has a different name than your organization. And it's only for educational work. And I would prefer or say to you that having a team only for that can be good, so they can specialize in it, applying to foundations. And you can write letters to companies, and how you can do this, I will say in point 7. And letters to companies are for the donations in kind and monetary donations. You can ask the companies if you're allowed to publish their support or not. And we made it with book publishers, ask them and let them send books directly to people in custody in Munich, which was really nice. Karis made that up. And yeah, we're currently planning on a charity gala, one offline in April. And for further information, you can contact me anytime. The charity galas are for networking with donators and keep contact and update them in person. And there are 3 big aims here. You can make new contacts to other rich contacts, and new contacts to powerful or important people, and of course, donations. Yeah, as I said, always and everywhere offer the possibility to donate in lectures, YouTube videos, newsletters, emails, and websites. Turn one-off donations into permanent donations through commitment and thanks. If possible, you can, for example, send your donators regularly emails about updates, what's happened with their money, and say thank you, and here you can donate again. And yeah, working with fundraising specialists or very experienced persons could be also helpful. That's for fundraising.
Yes, and if you did all that, you're ready for a retreat and some vacation. And then you can look at what you've got and what is happening in the financial section and try to save money. It sounds a bit tame, but can be crucial. So do your teams work efficiently? For example, we just found out that we're buying every tube of super glue separately in the shops, which is a lot of work, super inefficient, and so much more expensive. And now we're switching to buying in bulk with our name on it too, which will be very nice. And that can be done in many fields, saving the money this way. You can also look out for ways not to spend the money in the first place. So maybe some things you can get for free. Like in the beginning, we always got free rooms for our lectures and for our action trainings. You can, for example, cooperate with churches that sometimes are very giving and give you a wider network, by the way, with other NGOs or youth centers or social centers or anything where things alike are happening. Sometimes you don't have a fee for the room, you just have donations, but that's a very nice way to save money and get in contact with the ones who are providing you with rooms. Then there's other donations in kind. That is to say, you get the thing or the service for free instead of somebody gives you the money and then you pay for the service or the thing that you want. Like we have this one guy who's always sending us packages with super glue, which is super sweet. And there is this hostel that is just giving us free beds because they like us. And you don't have to depend on people coming to you. You can also think about where are we spending a lot of money, and might there be a way of people just giving the service to us or giving the thing that we're buying for free. Then you can ask for non-profit discounts. And now I'm getting coffee, which is so great. Thank you. You should always ask for the needs of the teams internally. And we found out that some teams were just spending and spending, and other teams were like, okay, we don't have any money. I always have to pay for stuff for myself, and that's not fair. And also it's limiting our possibilities. So always communicate what you have, what people can spend, and ask them what they need. And also ask them, okay, this is what you're doing now. And if you had more money, could you do more work? Could you reach more goals? Is that possible? Because sometimes it is. And then if you have the money, you can make that true. Or you can tell donators, okay, if we had this amount of money, we could do whatever. So that's for saving money and not spending money. And now I'm giving back to Maike for important skills. and operations.
Yeah, as I said, we work with bulk mails, and it's like sending 300 emails at once to maybe companies, and spreadsheets, it's for calculations, and we work with shared calendars, programs, and shared documents. Then it's important to encrypt your PCs. I had the police in my house, and I was very happy that I wasn't at home because I had not an equipped PC and I had all the passwords. And yeah, so hold Skillshares about that and keep people aware about their responsibilities, and ask your IT or legal team for help for that. And one important rule, our event orga for the charity gala is working very perfectly because she has studied this, and I always tell her, hey, you can do 80-20. So yeah, called the 80-20 rule. 80% of the results are achieved with 20% of the total effort. And we hold short and crisp calls more often than long ones. And you may know that calls longer than 1 hour are more likely to be unproductive. And yeah, keep your soft skills straight. Do some team building stuff and make sure everyone is doing well. And it's not only for finance teams. And yeah, you have now structures to keep, like a little serious startup. Yeah. Is this the last point, number 7? I think so. And yeah, what I want to tell you is that it's really important that we do it ourselves in our campaigns, not only using the CEF for their operations, because yeah, we here in Europe have many unused sources, and yeah, the CEF does not have unlimited money. And I guess by the time they want to know if we made any efforts to raise funds otherwise, and yeah, more money, contacts, and work in structures that is ultimately to the streets leading there. And yeah, some motivation for you. Once something flows, there is often more to come. And yeah, more security through secured structures, instead of relying on somebody else's work and structure and losing all of that. If it fails, it's like it would be a mistake for us, and we can solve this in front of the problem, and then you can build like a biodiversity of donors. If one fails, there are always 10 more, and yeah, you increase the connection with the campaign when people can donate, and to donate can also be the first step on the way to the streets. And yeah, for me, it's just like, of course we do it by ourselves. So it's like, yeah, logical to raise funds by ourselves, because in our countries in every country there are lots of rich people who are supporting us, and we can ask for help financially. And that's for me to say. Karis, you want to add something?
Yes, we have a very unstructured point in our handout, but I want to leave a few words on that, which is to protect whatever you have, protect your structures, protect your people, protect everything you build up. We currently are facing criminal investigation on building a criminal gang I don't know how that is called in your countries, but it's pretty serious. They can freeze our bank accounts. They can do a lot of harm to our structures. And you have to foresee everything that the state might be possible to do in repression, not just for your actions on the streets, but also for everything in the back. And right now, the public in Germany is very interested in where we're getting our money. And there are so many rumors out there. So on the one hand, you want to have as much transparency as can be good about your finances, so nobody can say, yeah, okay, you're financed by Putin, which is a rumor in Germany about us. Of course, not everything, and many donors might want to be anonymous, which is okay, but you need some transparency. And on the other hand, you need to do anything you can do to secure your structures, because I don't know, if you have full-time people being paid by your campaign and then your bank accounts are frozen, then they can't do their work. They have to find a different job. And there are a few thoughts. You can do encryption, like Mike said. You need professionals doing the crucial points of your infrastructure, like you need lawyers. You need accountants, bookkeepers, and so on. And if you work with other organizations, watch out, be very careful if you can trust them, and if you want to take them down with you when you are facing strong repression, which is a problem that we're facing right now in Germany. Prepare your people for house searches. Like we had, I don't know, 20 house searches, and nobody was prepared for it. And it was just, personally, it was horrible for the people. And that's something that you can foresee. We just didn't. But now you have the information, you can foresee it. Yes, that's all very unstructured, but it was important for me to put a point on this security thing in the end. And I think, Mikey, you want to talk a bit about our financial group? You added this thing?
You mean the structure Miro board?
Yes.
I can do this, and I want to add that I'm currently thinking about how to secure our money. Yeah, because our donations rose really high in the last few weeks, and yeah, just like a little spoiler, we're thinking about having lots of legal structures, so that's not so easily to just freeze one bank account. And yeah, short insight in our finance structure. You can have a look at our handout. There's like a mind map, and yeah, there's I am like the coordination person. I have contact with other coordination persons and our core team for the strategies and big decisions. And then there are like many of little like sub AGs, and they are coordination persons of each. So they have like a team for each sub AG, and I think it's really clear. And one sub AG is like fundraising, and it's like a tree downhill. I hope you can understand well. And if you have any questions, I would say that you can asked me now if it's fine.
Should we do that now? So Karis, if you don't have anything to add, then we will do a question round now. I'm just going to go on a quickly different view so we can see people raising hands. And just before I forget it, as Mike and I think Karis also mentioned, there is this gala event happening, and we are planning to do an international call afterwards, so that they can tell us how it went, what did they put into it, etc. So we can also have something on record for everyone to learn from. And Ed, please go.
Yeah, I've got like 4 questions, if that's okay. I can't wait. Yeah, give me that if it's okay. 4 questions. Fantastic. Okay, so yeah, my first question is regarding the charities. So I did I did a bunch of research into how we could become a charity. Unfortunately, run mostly by Conservative MPs. And to become a charity, you need to be proving that you're doing a whole bunch of charitable purposes, and that does include things like education. And yes, theoretically, you could say that, for example, doing direct action leads to education, but realistically, I can't see how it's feasible. So I'm just wondering how you managed to become a charitable organization.
So we tried to found one ourselves, and that just didn't work out because the person in the office that was deciding on it saw the name of our founder and was like, okay, you're not non-charitable, you're badass. So everything was perfect, just the name was a problem, so you want to watch out for that. And in fact, our actions we don't define as what is it, non-charitable. That's exactly the section that is we call legitimate instead of illegal. No, it's our talks, because we're saying, yeah, okay, we're informing people about the range and dramatic of climate crisis, and that is educational work. And if we're putting up posters and handing out flyers and leaflets, then that's part of our educational work about climate crisis. Yeah, and if you're good at finding ways and wriggling around these rules, you can put most of your work into that section. For us, not so much, but everything in the background and everything instead of actions, yeah, you can put into this. We're holding speeches on the climate crisis.
Thanks, Karis.
Yeah.
Also, can I just quickly suggest maybe add in between your 4 questions, we just see if somebody else has a question, and then we'll come back to you, Ed. Sorry, Maike, over to you.
Yeah, and I would add that we are working with a charitable organization who gives their platform to many other organizations. So it's their work to give us legal structures. That's how we did it. Yeah.
And I just wanted to add that I don't know what it's like in your countries, but in Germany, a political party is by definition non-charitable and has many, many rights. So now we're trying to found a political party that is not called the party of the last generation, but anything else. And that will hopefully be the structure, and there the rules are so much easier. So maybe you want to look into that if in your country the rules are similar. And for Scientist Rebellion, go for it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think that was like sort of also highlighted in the first point, like that it's really important to start relationships with people that can, or organizations that can offer you the platforms, because like setting up a charity, even if you don't use the wrong name of the co-founder of the organization, like it's a really lengthy process, and probably establishing a relationship with an organization that has that potentially is maybe shorter to do. Does anyone have a question in between? Ed, do you have a question?
I don't have a question, I have more of a statement.
Okay, yeah, Rodri.
I just want to talk briefly about encryption because this is a very important point. We're all in different countries and there are different laws about whether or not you will be forced to decrypt a device. So you need to check with a lawyer in your country to find out whether or not you may be subject to a fine or imprisonment if you don't decrypt a device that is seized by the police. It varies country to country, even in Europe. So it's really worth finding that out. So you know what protection the encryption is actually going to give you and any repercussions for the people if their devices are seized.
Thanks, Rodri. Okay, so any questions before we go back to Ed from someone else? Robin, please.
Yes, you name different sources for fundraising in your presentation, and I would be interested to know how they split in terms of amount of money you raised from them, and maybe in regards of the resources you put in them and the time that was needed, and maybe if you have any advices for putting stuff in place.
Yeah, it's the most easy ones are like what to do, what doesn't take so much time, like putting where to donate on every press release. It's really easy, and crowdfundings, you can link the crowdfundings to every press release and your websites, and that's where many donators can spend directly. And yeah, maybe the charity galas are like a big upstepping game now. And yeah, I hope I answered enough.
Do you want to add anything, Karis? I think also on the handout, in the topics, you can see the months that they have put, like when they started to do that. So after 3 to 6 months of establishing already XYZ, they then moved into that. Did you want to add anything, Karis, before we go on?
I wanted to, thank you. I wanted to add, the easiest thing is that we're doing great actions and people see it and donate, and then we get a lot of repression, and that is what drives donors to us. And then you need a good website where it's easy to donate. So it's not even that the financial team has to do a lot when the structures are ready. It's more the people on the streets and in jail that are getting solidarity by people donating. That was really flying us off the moon.
Or to the moon. Okay, Ed, one question from you, and then we'll go to Nora.
Yeah, back to back to charitable organisations. I apologise. So you made a point saying that non-charitable organisations are prosecutable, but charitable ones are also prosecutable. Mostly citing the fact that if they're investigated and found to be donating money to things that are not charitable purposes, they get in a lot of trouble and basically lose their charitable status. So I'm just wondering how you managed to convince the charitable organisations that you have been working with to risk that.
Yeah, I had very stressful last week because the press were finding out that we're paying people, and yeah, they have contracts for working for LG, and our non-charitable association was like, oh, no, it's not good at all. And I'm how we handled the situation, but before that, our human in charge for the invoices and everything from the association always told me, yeah, everything is easy, I know what I'm doing and it's fine, and as long as we're having a good like framing for what we pay, it's fine. And yeah, so it was to me always easy, like we can pay for your train ride and for the talking rooms and everything and stuff like that. And also the contracts were given from this association, and now they have to say how could they do this. And it's like that we strictly separate the invoices that come to our mail into non-charitable and charitable association. And also the non-charitable association controls over the invoices and decide what they want to pay. So it's not our responsibility, and they can always say, no, it's not non-charitable. And so this is really easy, and they have to decide. And what we have done with the press saying, we're paying people for doing some illegal stuff, and we told the press, hands down, we never talked about our finances. So here you can have everything. That's where we pay people. That's our incomes and outcomes of 2022. And then they were, shit, no, we know everything. And also the attention is in Lützerath right now, and which is really good. So a very good time point in the history. And yeah, this I hope you understand. Yeah, I think that's it for now.
Do you want to add anything, Caris, or can we go to Nora?
I think I wouldn't feel safe enough in Ed's place, so maybe I want to add this association that is giving us their name. I think they didn't know what they were getting into because we were so much smaller in the beginning. So maybe for Just Stop Oil, that's not an option. But for smaller organizations, maybe, or you have a member who happens to have a non-charitable association or anything, and then you can just use that.
Thanks. Nora, over to you, please.
Yeah, I'm wondering about seeking donations or in-kind donations from like companies and spaces and stuff like that. Did you, was this kind of like through your network, but like people who know people, or was it through like cold calling, cold emailing? And if so, do you have any advice for making those reach outs more successful?
Yeah, it was cold calling and not very successful. And I think it strongly depends on your standing in society, in your respective country, and also what field you're asking. So I sent out, I don't know, 100, 200, 300 emails to food companies and just organic food or vegan food or stuff like that. And there was very little response. And then I sent out, okay, the state just sent 30 people, no, I don't know, 20 people to jail for a month because they were peacefully protesting for climate. Do you want to support them? And asked, what's the word? Publishers. And I think publishers are very educated and more leftist than other parts of society. So there was a much bigger response. And also we had this, okay, we're doing this, and there is so much repression. And this repression card is very strong in donations. So if people are a little bit on your side, or if people are pro climate justice, just not liking your actions, and then you get a lot of repression, that's the point when people are ready to donate. So yeah, it's always also timing.
Yeah, and I think it's also quite interesting that looking across all projects maybe of the network, that the repression effect and people really coming around and giving lots of money has literally only happened in Germany. So it was really also like a very fertile ground for this to happen. Yeah, people in the UK don't react to people being in prison as they did in Germany at all. So it's also like, your country, your culture, etc. Yeah, which plays quite a big part in this. Ed, is it number 3 now?
Yes, question number 3. Oh, sorry. Fantastic. Yeah, so question number 3 is foundations. How the hell did you do it? So we spent a long time at the beginning of the year, like we reached out to so many foundations. And then even the people such as like the Gorilla Foundation, which is like based around like civil uprisings and stuff. Even they weren't willing to donate anything to it. So what was your framing? How did you ask them?
Yeah, that was my idea, and it didn't work. I always banked on us having a non-charitable with a different name than Last Generation, and we had some yeses, but just for small amounts, and just for, in one case, for civil disobedience, and in the other cases it was always they didn't really know that we were who we were. And we also asked Guerilla Foundation, and I think we didn't even get an answer. And same for a couple others. And I think the problem is that we have our name. And I think it would work much better if you use a non-charitable that has a different name. Because even if the foundation people like you, they are also they also need to protect their own structures, and that is for donators, and that is also from the tax offices. So maybe even if they're in favor of what you do, it might be that they don't want to give you money, not to associate with you.
Yeah, we haven't really been that successful with applying to foundations.
Yeah, I think in the very limited contact Rodri and me as the international team have had with foundations, the problem is really, I think a lot of the times what Karis just said, that they maybe want to do stuff as an individual in this organization or as a small group and support, but there is this whole body around it that maybe doesn't. And it often is because of the civil disobedience point. Karis, do you want to add something?
Yes. I have one good experience, and that was an organization that is getting money from an organization that is getting money from the EU for educational youth work. And this chain might work. They're still risking their status. So it's still better to have an association, even if it's non-charitable, if it's non-profitable. I mean, even if it's charitable, yeah, non-charitable, even if that has a different name, and then jump into a chain like that, which is not going to help Just Stop Oil. But if your campaign is very small, and I don't know, 5,000 euro, 10,000 euros would be something for you, then that could be a way to get started.
Is anyone else with a question before we go to the last one from Ed? Samuel, Italy, please.
Thank you. I would ask you how much time do you spend developing a relationship with the people who have already donated? You use just automatic emails, newsletters, or you, for example, phone them or write a personal message or even meet in person. So yeah, what level of time do you apply to keep good relationship with the people who donate regularly? Thank you.
Until now, not really much. As I said, our new website is online for a couple of days now, and until then we haven't had a double opt-in option. It's like our manager where the money is transferred to our bank account has given the option only now for this new campaign, and a double opt-in option is like where the donator can click and say, yes, you can have my email and contact me, give me regular updates about the like a newsletter from the finance team only about financial updates and something like that. And I haven't had time to board people on for that, but it's a new idea, and like a good tip to start with this if you're new to the game, and we just found out and it's like a good option for you, so you can start directly with this. We do too now.
Yes, we haven't been so super nice to our donors so far, but you can always change. One little thing I wanted to add is that I don't know how familiar you are with crowdfundings. Those are so beautiful, and you can offer gifts in return for donations. So if somebody gives you 50 euros, they get a postcard handwritten from somebody on the streets. If somebody gives 100 euros, they get a t-shirt. I don't know. This is also a way of communicating back and forth. They get a small thank you, they're appreciated, and then also they're walking around with your message on their shirts. So that's a very easy way to start the connection, the communication with the donors. Yes, thanks.
And I want to say that we have a big donor who's giving us much money without asking, but we kindly send him messages. Only one person keeps in contact, so he doesn't get handled around. It's what we do with this one big donor we have. So yeah, keep personal contact with them.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really important point, because what most fundraising companies, agencies, whatever do is that whole keeping in touch, building the relationships, etc. So it's a really big part of fundraising successfully, also more than once. Caris, please.
Yeah, I just realized a very small issue. You want to find a very cool name for your role in the campaign and make it sound very big. And then if you're sending a thank you note to a donor and it's financial director, then wow, they feel really appreciated instead of, yeah, some secretary sent me a letter. That's a very small thing, but people, for many people, that makes a big difference.
I've actually lost count now. Ed, do you have one more question, or did we do all your 4? Oh, no, you're listening.
Sorry. Yeah, the other one was just about the company, so that's already been answered. So fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks. Has anyone else got any questions to ask? Because if not, yes, Valentin, please.
Yes, sorry. Just a question about the technical. What platform did you choose? I think it's GoFundMe, and why? And I thought I saw that platform you can choose between donation or crowdfunding. It seems to be quite similar. Can you explain us? Thank you.
Yeah, and at first we choose Startnext because we have somebody in our campaign who works there and knows everything, which is very helpful. And also you don't have to pay. But yeah, just check out your options. There are in many different platforms, and I think it might depend on what legal structure you have, which is an option, because many are only allowed for non-profitables.
Yeah, I want to say that we had an issue with GoFundMe because they thought we would take money for Strafen. What's it?
For
like
legal fines, like legal fines, yeah.
And they weren't fines. They were costs of the police. So it's like paying when you parked at the wrong place, and that's really nice. I want to tell you as a small tip for you.
Roger had a question.
Yeah, I think you're perhaps one of the only projects that I've seen, at least, that has your IBAN on your website. Do you notice that you get like a lot of donations through that, or does it mainly come through the platforms that you use?
Can you repeat that? What?
You have your bank like IBAN, so you can
yes.
directly transfer to your bank account without going through like a platform.
No, some people ask for that separately, but most people just want to click on something.
Yeah, but the numbers weren't that small. I can have a.
I think the bigger the donation is, the more secure the people wants the process, and sometimes they just ask if they get this paper for their tax papers, so they can save taxes, and that's when they ask us and send an email, and then they get an IBAN.
So on our website is not the non-profitable association linked yet. We can link them at the bottom to say, hey, here's a non-profitable association where you can spend to, and they decide where the money goes. So they can decide or give it to us. So, and I have trust in that. But on our website is only the profitable association bank account, and I had a quick look at the numbers, and there's the bank account where they can directly give the money. Then we had PayPal, and then we had the tool where they just have to click, and it's not a big yes, and yeah, but we made some shortcuts with PayPal. Pay attention to not to PayPal. I can give you a handout for this only, because don't just link different accounts very quickly. That PayPal freezes money easily and quickly, and yeah, it's no big difference where the money comes, because when people decide to donate, it's like that's what I read from the numbers. They do it in any way, but I don't know. It is just my opinion from the last month. Yeah.
But just quickly, because I think, so what Roger was saying, that you're one of the only projects that has an IBAN on their website where people can just send money to. And is there others don't do that? They have donate buttons. And I know that you have the Elinor bank account IBAN. You've always had this on your website. So the question was like, is this successful for you guys, or do you have any way to monitor this? Like this
Is it worth doing?
Is it worth doing? Because then we can recommend it to other projects. Is the whole, the whole thing we're trying to do here, or not?
Yeah, we had it a long time, not on our website, but we decided to manage it. And I think it's worth it because we have to manage it also via the tool if there are fake donators and want to abort the mission and then we pay. And it's fine if we do this by ourselves. And yeah, I would recommend it to put it on your website.
Yeah, I think there are many donors who want that, especially elder people who usually have more money. But you have to watch your bank statements because that can also you can be subject to fraud. So people can order stuff online and then pay with your bank account if you have that online. So you have to just have somebody watch the outgoings and watch out for if everything is correct, and if not, then you have to, I don't know, abort the option, the outgoing of this money. Yes. And I think you have 8 weeks, so that's easily doable.
Yeah, if you have PayPal, you have, and if you have a business account, you have to look daily into the account, and sometimes the money is collected by PayPal and online, and you have to put it on the bank account by yourself. It's automatically, but only after a few days, and in this time they can decide, oh, you're doing like civil disobedience and we don't support this and we keep the money, and then it's really fucked up from PayPal. So have a look daily at your bank accounts and business accounts. Yeah.
Okay, so to summarize, it can be a good idea to put your IBAN, your bank account number, on your website to enable donations for especially older people who don't necessarily like to use certain, these other platforms. But the risk is that your IBAN can be used maliciously by someone. So perhaps it's worth speaking to your bank beforehand to explain what you're going to do and see if they can offer you some protection.
Ed.
Yeah, I've just got a point that kind of carries on for what Micah just said regarding crowdfunders. Along the same vein, when you're trying to find a crowdfunder, make sure you're going to use one that already has a whole bunch of other activist groups on it, and also allows you to get the money directly from there as it comes through, not at the end of the week or whatever, because we had that problem. We on crowdfunder.co.uk just completely shut us down after the Van Gogh action. But then we managed to find another one which is specifically for activist groups. So just make sure you're doing a research when you're looking for your crowdfunder, because it can bite you in the arse.
Yeah, rightly said. Just looking at the time, and maybe it would be nice to do a checkout before we leave in the big room to say goodbye. Maybe just also a quick summary at the end of sort of points that we're taking away here now. Is obviously with everything we do, diversity is the key. So having different bank accounts that only are for different things. So you can also monitor spending internally in your organization in a much better way and know where to maybe save, where you need to inject more money, etc., etc. And also, I guess this goes for receiving money, having different ways of how the money comes and being able to track those different ways so you can see what works successfully, what isn't working, what can we tweak, etc. to like maximize income as well. And yeah, what I really, really liked was that Kari's really pushed also on the accounting tool and stuff. It's really, really important to have not a Google spreadsheet, basically. you need like a proper tool, even and to start when you're little, because it becomes a nightmare to do it when you're big, and you've got all this like messy system already and everybody, oh, but we've always done it like this. So yeah, it's also something that I think we would like to recommend, have a proper tool and maybe somebody proper, a retired person, etc., to maybe help you with that as well. Is there anything you want to add, Audrey, before we depart?
Well, yeah, I mean, I know we're doing the revolution and everything, and we're like, you know, getting up to no good, but it's kind of like we want to pick our battles, right? So we don't want to have a battle with the tax office or the, you know, the financial authority. We want to have a battle on the streets. So the things that we do when we interface with the system, we need to do properly, so we're not creating more problems for ourselves. And that just echoes what Connie said and what has already been said about, yeah, accounting and doing things properly in that space.
Yeah, because as we have, you know, learned, you know, with some issues that came in Letzte Generation and maybe in other projects, the problems can appear quite a lot later. And then there's a whole thing that you need to catch up on. And yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest. So if there's nothing, no burning question from anyone else that they just thought of before we depart, maybe we'll do a checkout. Anyone else wants to throw anything in the ring before we do that? Can tick in as a no.